Mami, go straight to the point. When I was listening to President Mahama, mami some nostalgia kakra because in some way akada. I remember in 2017. The date new 2017. Yeah, what 2025. Rich. But I remember in 2017. In 2016, time President Mahama is sending its signature to the Sports Act 2016. No. Rich, Agnes Yukanyakupo Shami enough says that time, I was actively practicing this job. And in 2016, time I finally the then president and he was about back. And then his signature SC Sports Act. Now us sign yes say Emra ye the boy sports or brown Ghana no. Magia to mu per parliament a debate me discussion say this is Emra ye for boy sports over. Rich, sad time no. Not the Sports Act 2016 Act 934 no. Na a NDC Act because na NDC na na power. Honorable Esiama, Honorable Kojo Bajimai, Madam Frida Prempe. There was one other person. I am talking about MPP for now omo the Parliamentary Select Committee for Sports no. Rich. But share their arguments on sports programs, including arguments on the floor of Parliament about that act way was that emuha and that and tackle the issues our sports. Number one, funding. Number two, infrastructure and other things. And am I interested in the Sports Act? 17 pages. I read all of it. And which, in all honesty, beyond politics, I agreed with the MPP caucus then in 2016 now. No more argument to say the Sports Act, a shallow document. So only to the problem I want on sports one. And they raise the tangent issue. Say there are two major issues. And here, more standing, and they say the act doesn't solve the problem of funding and it doesn't solve the problem of infrastructure deficit. Now you want sports. Rich, Yanko for you, madam. The same 2016, NDC lost power to MPP.
And I'm say, I didn't shallow. Timon Penny, and Yamia Dom Yatu Abama.
Fantastic.
I'm so bad,
I'm running yet. More hard. And solve a problem, my. Then the MPP came to power. MPP bar power. Lo and behold, Honorable Esiama, who was a member of the Parliamentary Select Committee for Sports on the MPP side, who was very, very vocal on this subject matter, was given the sports minister. Rich, I think on the 13th or on the 15th of May 2017, Rich, MPP, I say, Omodi or CBA yo. Na time no more opposition, Omo fire, Omodi go abaying to say, we need a sports fund. Na the Sports Act 2016, and tackle, they will tackle it. And it's also on Facebook. On May 13th, 2017, 13-member technical committee inaugurated for the sports fund. Rich, that 13-member committee, included Dr. Sapo, Dr. Baniako, Dr. Franquist, and a host of very, 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 very astute people. Rich, within the 8 years, Mahama Bamba is a 2 months ago. Within the 8 years, from the 13th of May 2017, I inaugurated a committee, framework committee for the sports fund. We never realized it. Never. Today, NPP abedi 8 years ago, NDC Asaba back with His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. The first State of the Nation's address, the sports, or say the problem of the sports is funding, infrastructure, and talent development. And what is called sports policy. And sports policy, in doing it, they are going to review the Sports Act 2016. Rich, catch me. If this is not a political recycling, what is it? I've given Obia the background to this. Nti, I am there. So at least Nyankupo has shown me enough for me to have followed this story as a sports journalist. And she said, "Me catch you will be a no matter the political colors I wore." Say, when I listen to these statements being made by politicians, Rich, I just sit and fold my arms and say, we are in a political cycle. Nothing will change. Because when the NPP, then in opposition in 2016, I can say, you review Sports Act, the NDC said no, it was okay. After 8 years, the NDC now comes back. The president said he is going to review the same document. The NPP got opportunity 8 years. Almost criticism on that same document, they did nothing about it. So, maybe the Semeka based on Asama Makachiro Intino. Mini das will be a say Anamoa Yaka Wasam Yebetu. That is where I'm coming from. It's a matter of principle. It's a matter of my knowledge of the history of this subject matter. Yakabida. We've raised strong arguments against these things. Now, Rich, me Makase, I have been in this country under His Excellency of blessed memory, John Evans Atamels. You're pushing the agenda of Get Fund. I'm a Get Fund, Abba. Not because of Get Fund, you want tremendous development in education. And just by the Get Fund example, I have said, we would have seen tremendous transformation of your sports if the sports fund is so bad. But which the two leading political parties, I'm a man who say this subject matter, they will play politics with it. And until I see it happening, Rich, because any politician making the pronouncement say, or the Bayer Juma, Nameboa, and Unim. The interesting part can say, within these years now, Rich, it has been appearing in their manifestos 4 years after 4 years. So, what must I be excited about when I hear the president again telling us our problems?
Okay.
Makachi will say, even for the fact that, and now I know what I say, no politician is even pushing for the amendment of, say, yakati alcoholic beverages any alcoholic industries fund into sports no kra HM say they are not realizing what they need to do, because that is a huge space. It will take less effort to get that investment into your sports. The same parliament and renti yentimi flow sa investment into your sports, and until say a politician make say oh yeah to sa dey no one no rich all the other rhetoric and semantics ni statements made sebi mejutumwa enye. So that is my verdict.
But say Ayala ni so money on because yenya yera samia uku a okasa look as in various mad venues na obekone bia obiaba nipa no condom nsan wi are not the custodium wa kodin sem no so obi okro no nsan na sabi odin sem so never say mama ni ho.
You see, where in other developed world we saw
obi jina stadium no kra ni bia o jina stadium o ebo kra ni bia.
The only thing they say they don't serve the beer or glass containers mu.
Oh na yim.
And plastic way no akwaji na won no mo ade. It's rich. Our politicians, they know our problems. They play with our emotions and they talk big, but that's little.
Una say in kakra bi na yem family season ni.
And no me boss, so it's just a repetition.
Okay.
You see, in all due respect, Mr. President, you cannot tell Ghanaians say what share of sports ministry say yenti my mofono through omo and demanding for accountability on the budget of your Black Stars from the Football Association. That statement is wrong. That statement is born out of ignorance. To say, you know the right word to use. It can be as simple as that. Rich, me say, Obia onim the process of how we spend on our national teams will not accept the president telling us to demand accountability on the budget of his national teams from the Football Association. Unless you don't know, unless over the years you have been misinformed, and who stands me as a stance, a stance of ignorance. And yes, sir, there is no way you buy into the president's narrative of we the citizens say you could demand the accountability from the FA. Rich, within 30 seconds, let me take you through the process of how we spend on our national teams. I have said it and I'll repeat it today. What happens? And they say the Ghana Football Associations prepare what we call a proposed budget to the ministry. Whether a Black Stars, a Black Maidens, a Black Queens, any national team. What the FA does is to prepare a proposed budget. So only the proposed budget in the court ministry. What the ministry does, and they say they query them on the budget. And each item is beyond or many figures any mubiano. They query them, oh, I didn't must say you better plane. I didn't tell you better plane tickets. I didn't tell you better hotel way. I didn't tell you say they tell them, oh, you better plane ticket for a contingent of 35 because players say any official saying you do mutukwai and until they say plane ticket for this number. You better hotel way because you come Morocco, maybe 2 days, and until they say you better hotel way, that is how much we will pay for 2 nights. And he say. So omuye sa deliberation we are, which the FA is left to go. The Ministry of Youth and Sports pick that budget, do internal checks on it, do their internal input based on their engagement with the FA. And then send what the ministry call the final budget to the office of the chief of staff of the president. Omukwa, they go and defend what the ministry deem as the final budget in front of the chief of staff without the Football Association. So I'm defending we are. Now say the chief of staff any that becomes the approved budget for the national team without the Football Association. They don't even tell the Football Association how much has been approved as the final budget of the national teams. Rich, that is the moment they call in the Ministry of Finance. Say Blasters Ibetu Coin, Blasters a tournament. We have approved this budget, say they call. So we need you to process Sika. Near fund. Now, Rich, this is why it gets even more interesting. Say Ministry of Finance, NYS Sika Neba. So okay, Mosema approve budget of 13 million. Say they call AFCON. Monjia. Rich, the ministry take it into their account. Then they follow the team with a person called a purse holder from the Ministry of Youth and Sports. Or the team nechi. Unless you can say no con. Unim sikado do our neighbor. Or the team nechi no. Adie bi a wosi etia ho kabia. Oru no tia no wage receipt. And say, yeah, but that Lancaster for 2 days. You do Lancaster say Kim. He goes to the management of Lancaster and say, you're booking 35 rooms for 2 days. And you say, almost your bill on or say, okay, Munji Husika, na muncho me invoice and famame. Say, you go to tissue, you go to tiro, you go to food. The press holder goes, pay for it, and take account of it. Rich.
Season ni ayini kakra bi na fe yempeke course.
Medima no si no. Oye saade ni nyina wi a. Se eye matches na kobo yo se tournament a ebe wi a. He the person holder goes back to the ministry and with all the invoice and the receipts do what we call accounting and they audit it. So if this is the processor, why do we as citizens have to go to the FA for accountability? When it is you that approve the budget, it is you that sends someone to spend the money, it is you that does the receipts and the accounting and the auditing. Me say, we entrust our resources to government. And the usage of those resources is on government and not on any other person.
All right, Jeff, Monfa Superzono, resort no fan to